The strength we were never taught. Why softness is the most dangerous thing you can do. Good morning, everyone. I want to start by introducing you to someone whose work is quietly dismantling everything we've been taught about power, leadership, and survival. Her name is Katina McMahand, and if you haven't heard of her yet, I promise you, you will. She is not just a voice for the exhausted, the overlooked, the ones who've been told to keep going when what they really needed was permission to stop. She is a movement. She is building a counter narrative that says softness is not surrender, it is strategy. And today I want to share with you the insights from my conversation with her because I believe they hold the power to change not just how we lead, but how we live, how we love, and how we survive in a world that profits from our pain. Let me start with something that might sound strange, maybe even dangerous. We have been taught that strength looks like endurance, that resilience means pushing through, that leadership requires a certain hardness, a certain armor, a certain willingness to sacrifice your peace, your health, your joy for the sake of productivity. And for Black women, especially those in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, this message has been amplified 1,000 times over. You have been the backbone, the glue, the one who holds it all together no matter the cost. You have been told that your value is in your capacity to endure, that your strength is measured by how much you can carry, that asking for help is a sign of failure. But here's what Katina McMahand helped me see, and what I want you to consider today. What if softness, not hardness, is the strategy that sustains strength? What if the very thing we have been conditioned to avoid, gentleness, rest, boundaries, emotional honesty, is actually the foundation of lasting power? This is not a feel good platitude. This is a counterintuitive truth that challenges everything we have been sold about success, leadership, and survival. And it is a truth that could save your life. Let me explain. Katina shared something with me that stopped me in my tracks. She said, no matter what I have endured, my goal has always been to speak life into others and stay true to myself. That is it. Not to prove anything, not to perform strength, but to protect her character and to believe in herself, even when the world demanded she become someone else. And that right there is the shift. Because most of us have been taught that self belief is passive, that it is something you either have or you do not. But Katina's journey shows us that self belief is a discipline. It is a daily practice of choosing authenticity over approval, of choosing peace over performance, of choosing to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness. Now, let's talk about what that actually looks like. I want to share three stories with you, three real examples that illustrate this principle in action. And I want you to listen not just with your ears, but with your body, because these stories are not just about other people, they are about you. They are about the parts of you that have been silenced, ignored, or shamed into submission. The first story is about a woman named Katina Lee, and it is titled Learning to Feel Safe Again. Katina Lee did not come to healing from a place of arrival. She came from a place of disruption, pain, unresolved trauma. Life had handed her more than most people could carry, and yet, instead of pretending she had it all figured out, she did something radical. She told the truth. She said, I am still learning, I am still healing, I am still becoming. And that honesty became her power. Because here's what we do not talk about enough: healing is not a destination, it is not something you finish and then move on from. Healing is a process, and it can coexist with success, with leadership, with impact. You do not have to be fully healed to be fully effective. You do not have to be finished to be impactful. You do not have to have it all together to help someone else put their life back together. Katina Lee turned her vulnerability into a teaching point. She used her platform to model self awareness and resilience, not by hiding her wounds, but by showing how she was tending to them. And in doing so, she gave others permission to do the same. She normalized healing in progress. She made it okay to be broken and brilliant at the same time. She made it okay to be soft while still being strong. This is what I mean by strategic softness. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that strength includes the capacity to be honest, to be tender, to be in process. It is the understanding that you do not have to wait until you are whole to be worthy, that your worth is not contingent on your ability to endure, that your value is not determined by how much you can carry. And that, my friends, is revolutionary. The second story comes from a woman named Latoya Alford, and it is titled Strategic Softness: Building Power, Wealth, and Healing. Latoya's work challenges one of the most deeply held assumptions in business and entrepreneurship, that ambition and softness cannot coexist. That if you want to build wealth, if you want to lead, if you want to succeed, you have to harden yourself. You have to grind. You have to sacrifice your peace, your health, your wholeness. You have to become someone you do not recognize in order to achieve something the world will applaud. But Latoya flips that script entirely. She argues that softness is not the opposite of ambition. It is the foundation of sustainable success. That healing and wealth building can happen together. That power does not have to be performative. It can be grounded, aligned, rooted in values, not just outcomes, rooted in integrity, not just income. And here's why this matters. For Black women, especially those who have been conditioned to carry everything, this is revolutionary because the model we have been given is one of over functioning, of proving our worth through exhaustion, of earning our seat at the table by never asking for rest, of being twice as good to get half as much, of smiling through the pain, of holding it all together while falling apart on the inside. But what Latoya shows us is that there is another way, a way that honors your humanity, a way that says you can build an empire and still protect your peace. You can lead with authority and still lead with softness. You can be powerful and still be whole. You can be ambitious and still be aligned. You can want more and still rest deeply. This is not a luxury. This is a necessity because the old model, the one that says strength equals struggle, is killing us. Literally, it is burning us out. It is breaking our bodies. It is stealing our joy. It is robbing us of the very lives we are working so hard to build. And it is time we stop calling that strength. It is time we start calling it what it is: survival. And survival is not the same as living. The third story is from an episode titled Learning to Receive. This one hit me hard because it speaks to something so many high achieving people struggle with: the inability to receive. We are so used to giving, to carrying, to being the strong one, the dependable one, the one who never needs help. And over time, that becomes our identity. We become so good at giving that we forget how to receive. We become so comfortable with carrying that we feel guilty when someone offers to help. We become so addicted to being needed that we do not know who we are when we are not in service to someone else. But here is the truth: receiving is not a weakness, it is a skill, and it is one that most of us have never been taught. This story centers the idea that healing includes letting yourself be supported. That rest is not something you have to earn, that you are worthy of care, not because of what you have accomplished, but because you exist, because you are human, because you matter. And for Black women, especially those who have been praised for carrying everything alone, this is a radical reframe because the world has told you that your value is in your capacity to endure, that your strength is measured by how much you can carry, that asking for help is a sign of failure, that needing support means you are weak, that resting means you are lazy, that prioritizing yourself means you are selfish. But what if the opposite is true? What if the ability to receive, to rest, to let others support you is actually the highest form of self respect? What if softness in this context is not about being weak, but about being wise enough to know that you do not have to do it all alone? What if the most powerful thing you could do today is to stop carrying what was never yours to carry in the first place? Now, let me bring this all together. These three stories, Katina Lee learning to feel safe again, Latoya Alford building power through strategic softness, and the practice of learning to receive, they all point to the same counterintuitive truth. Softness is not the opposite of strength. It is the strategy that sustains it. And here's why this matters for you. If you are a leader, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are someone who has been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, this is your permission slip. You do not have to prove your strength through struggle anymore. You do not have to sacrifice your peace to be powerful. You do not have to abandon your softness, your faith, your authenticity to be effective. In fact, those things, your identity, your character, your capacity for tenderness, those are your leadership assets. Because here's what Katina McMahand taught me: character outlasts performance. People may remember your outcomes, they may remember your titles, your achievements, your accolades, but what they will carry with them, what will shape their lives long after you are gone, is how you made them feel, how you treated them, the integrity you modeled, the life you spoke into them, the permission you gave them to be human, to be soft, to be whole. And that, my friends, is not built on hustle, it is built on wholeness. So let me leave you with three key insights, three takeaways that I hope will shift how you think about leadership, success, and strength. First, your identity is a leadership asset. You do not have to abandon softness, faith, or authenticity to be effective in business or professional spaces. In fact, those are the very things that will set you apart. That will make your leadership sustainable. That will allow you to build something that lasts. That will allow you to create a legacy that is not just impressive, but impactful. Second, character outlasts performance. People may remember outcomes, but your integrity and how you treat others are what build lasting trust and influence. So protect your character, guard your peace, stay true to yourself no matter what, even when it costs you, even when it is inconvenient, even when no one is watching. And third, healing and success can coexist. You do not have to be fully finished to be impactful. Growth can happen while you are still becoming. So give yourself permission to be in process, to be honest about where you are, to lead from a place of authenticity, not perfection, to show up as you are, not as you think you should be. Now, I want to ask you a question. What would change in your life, in your business, in your leadership if you stopped proving your strength through struggle and started proving it through alignment, boundaries, and truth? What would it look like to lead from a place of softness instead of survival? What would it feel like to build a life, a career, a legacy that honors your wholeness, not just your productivity? Because here is the thing: the world does not need more people who are willing to burn themselves out for success. The world needs more people like Katina McMahand, people who are willing to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness, people who are willing to speak life into others even when they are still healing themselves, people who are willing to redefine strength not as endurance but as alignment, not as performance but as peace, not as survival but as sovereignty. And I believe that person could be you. So today I'm inviting you to step into your soft girl era, not as a trend, not as a retreat, but as a revolution that says rest is resistance, that boundaries are sacred, that softness is strategic, that healing is not a detour, it is the path, that you do not have to be hard to be powerful, that you do not have to be broken to be beautiful, that you do not have to be perfect to be worthy. Because the truth is, you have been strong for long enough. You have carried enough. You have endured enough. You have proven enough. And now it is time to be soft, not because you are weak, but because you are finally wise enough to know that softness is the most dangerous thing you can do in a world that profits from your pain. So I am asking you, what will you do with this truth? Will you keep carrying what is killing you, or will you finally put it down and choose yourself? The choice is yours. But I hope you choose softness. I hope you choose peace. I hope you choose you.